Okay, and so, and a good share of the time it does work. I mean, roughly 70% of the time a remote viewer will actually show evidence that they have successfully remote viewed a distant location or whatever.
It's almost like being a human Wi-Fi, isn't
it? Yeah, I guess you could say that, although, yeah, I guess, I mean...
You just connect to it. There's something out there.
You get images and verbal kinds of things. So, yeah, it's a workable analogy, yeah.
All right, thanks, Margaret. Appreciate it. Thomas in La Jolla, California. Hi, Tom.
Hi, George. Thank you for accepting my call. Paul, great conversation. First of all, I want to thank you for your service, sir, and a comment and then a question.
Okay.
My recollection, my understanding was that Ingo Swann once stated that he had remote viewed, remote perceived, if you will, an extraterrestrial installation on the far side of the moon.
Yes.
And which brings me to a friendly question to you. If you're not under NDA or, you know, if it's not classified, could you share some of your personal experiences of remote viewing ETs and or ET installations? And again, thank you for the great conversation, and thank you again for your service.
You bet. And you know, I have to say sometimes I'm embarrassed being thanked for my service because I had so much fun doing it, you know?
Yeah, but you deserve it, Paul.
I know, and I do appreciate the appreciation. And there are certainly military folks out there who sacrificed a whole lot more than I did. And those are the guys that deserve more appreciation than anyone.
I know where you're coming from.
The guys and girls. I mean, there are women too, you know, who did. So, but yeah, so I actually participated in that project where Ingo remote viewed the far side of the moon. He invited me to join him and another person to do that remote viewing project. And I got very similar things to what Ingo got. And of course, remember, this is coming from somebody who's a bit skeptical about whether there's something there or not at the time, and also someone who was totally blind to the target. I had no idea I was remote viewing the moon. So Ingo and I and this other guy then remote view, and I started picking up really weird stuff. First of all, the landscape was strange because it was very barren, and it seemed very bleak and austere. There was really no evidence of any kind of life or anything there. Of course, now I know why, right? And then I perceived an underground cavern, I guess is the best way to describe it, that seemed to be part natural and part engineered. So maybe like a cavern that had been expanded or reinforced or something. And then I perceived things going on in there, including a vehicle that emerged from this cavern, and essentially you'd say it was flying. I guess that's the only way to describe it, even though you know, there wasn't any air there, but it was, of course, flying through space. The weird thing about it was, and this really threw me for a loop because I wasn't expecting anything like this, I had the impression that it was the machine itself was part biological, essentially it was kind of alive. Now, when I saw Battlestar Galactica, the new version later on, where they had these part biological spaceships, that was really what it was like. But I had this experience before those things probably even were thought of by the people who produced them. So I had that experience. And that, of course, made me think, well, wait a minute, maybe I'm not in Kansas anymore. You know, so that was very strange. And at the time, I didn't know what to make of it. Today, I still don't know what to make of it. I'm always cautious about this stuff, even if I'm the one that's perceiving it. Because it is possible to be misled. It is possible that imagination can take over and start telling you things that aren't true. But I have to say, because what I produced was very similar to what Ingo and the other guy produced, without us having any crosstalk at all about this, I can't dismiss it either as being a possibility.
Well, when you were doing the Far Side of the Moon project with Ingo, was that based on his book Penetration?
No, this happened before that.
Before that, okay.
Yeah.
And I would assume the book came out after that because of this test, huh?
Well, it's been a while since I read Penetration, but my recollection is that he didn't include any of this material in that book. Now, I could be wrong.
Well, he did talk about the Far Side of the Moon.
Yeah, my recollection, again, which is pretty long time.
But I don't know if it was based on this or something else.
I don't know. I guess the safest thing to say is I don't know if he did, because it's been so long since I read the book, I don't recall, So.
Did you see anything strange on the far side?
Yeah, that's what I just told you. Is what I perceived.
But I mean, you didn't see anything ET-ish?
Oh yeah, this was ET-ish. And having a cavern that had been engineered on the far side of the moon, by definition, is ET-ish, right?
Well,
We certainly don't do that.
Well, that's true. But I mean, you didn't see any bodies running around or anything like that.
Well, I did perceive entities there. I can't say anything. Maybe they were people. Maybe they were aliens that reminded me of people. Maybe they're aliens. I didn't go into that because remember, I'm not expecting anything. I'm thinking this is a normal target, right? Until I get into it. So I did get this habitation part, but the very fact that I'm perceiving this sentient space vessel that's part biological, that right there is pretty alien when you get right down.
And pretty strange too.
Yes, absolutely.
And your accuracy rate, Paul, has been pretty high, hasn't it?
Yeah, generally speaking. Of course, no remote viewer is perfectly accurate. You know Joe Monagle pretty well.
Yeah.
Even Joe gets things wrong, and he'll admit that. Well, that he doesn't get them all right. And again, it's because we don't know what makes it work, and so we can only make it work up to a certain degree by putting ourselves in an environment that makes it possible. So, yeah, my accuracy rate for an operational remote viewer apparently was pretty high. And I have had quite a bit of success since then in various projects and remote viewing environments.
We're going to come back in a moment with Paul Smith and take final phone calls here. His websites are linked up at coasttocoastam.com. A couple of his books include The Essential Guide to Remote Viewing, which he wrote in 2015, and the Reading the Enemy's Mind that he wrote in 2005. They're both just amazing books on remote viewing. Well, let's get ready to come back in a moment here, and then I'll tell you in just a second what you can expect next hour on Coast to Coast AM.
Sign up now for Coast Zone, our free email newsletter. Get it today at coasttocoastam.com.
I'm Phil Hewlett from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Flooding is possible in Orange County's coastal communities for the next couple of nights. An astronomical high tide is expected to peak this week. Waves up to 8 feet high are also in the forecast. L.A. County's eviction moratorium won't expire in a week after all. The Board of Supervisors voted to extend it through September 30th. Advocates for tenants argued that next week would have been too soon to make people start paying rent again, especially since most coronavirus restrictions were lifted just last week. Vanessa Bryant has reached a settlement in her lawsuit against the company that owned and operated the helicopter that crashed, killing her husband Kobe, daughter Gianna, and 7 other people. The terms of the settlement will be kept confidential. Southland weather from KFI, low clouds, some patchy drizzle this morning in and around the coast and the IE. Otherwise, partly to mostly sunny this afternoon. Highs upper 60s in the beaches, low to mid 80s inland. Right now, 64 in Buena Park, Costa Mesa 66, Lakewood 63, and at Sherman Oaks 65 degrees. We lead local. From the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Phil Hewlett.
Making your way through Boyle Heights, northbound side of the 5 at 4th Street. Wreck on the off-ramp. CHP is on the scene. Watch for looky-loos on the main line. A full freeway closure in Huntington Beach. Southbound 405, all lanes shut down at Beach Boulevard for a Caltrans project. You're off the freeway here till 5. You're back on at Magnolia. And it's police activity. The 10 freeway shut down in both directions in Fontana. If you're eastbound, you can't go any further than Sierra. Taking everybody off there. Westbound 10 is closed at Cedar. KFI and the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Ryan Duggan.
Hey, it's Conway here. Age-related memory decline runs in my family. So my choice was do nothing and hope my brain and mind stay strong, or take control of my brain health with Matter by Elysium Health. Now, Matter is science, not a passing fad. It was developed in partnership with the University of Oxford to slow the brain loss that occurs with age. called Matter, M-A-T-T-E-R, and it contains a patented formula that is clinically proven to slow age-related loss in the brain's memory centers by an average of 86%. Is brain health important to you? Well, here's 2 questions to see if you need Matter. Number 1, have you noticed changes, even mild changes in your memory? And number 2, does any sort of memory decline run in your family? If you said yes, then you need Matter by Elysium to help support brain health today, tomorrow, and later in life. Go to trymatter.com/Tim and use that promo code to save $45. Trymatter.com/Tim. Trymatter.com/Tim.
It was a beautiful June morning in Southern California.
Birds were chirping. The sun was shining.
And somewhere on a quiet residential street, a sink was clogging.
The couple experiencing the clog
Mr. and Mrs. JP
did something they had never done before. They called the Smell Good plumbers at Mike Diamond. I'm Mike Diamond. I guarantee my plumbers will show up on time and unclog your sink for $99.
A technician showed up promptly and unclogged the sink.
A few months later, a much more intensive problem turned up in the bathroom.
Mr. JP called Mike Diamond again. They worked up a plan and the repair was made.
Mr. and Mrs. JP felt good enough about the experience to sit down and write us an email.
They commended the Smell Good plumbers on their service and closed by saying they would use Mike Diamond on future services and recommend them to anyone in need of plumbing repairs.
We love Mr. and Mrs. JP, and we'd love for you to read their testimonial and more before calling your next plumber. The address is MikeDiamond.com, or just call us at 1-800-446-MIKE. Contractor's license number 399170. KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk. I hate retail.
You know, my philosophy is if you can't get it free or wholesale, you just don't need it. There's my philosophy in life.
Cost or nothing.
Let me tell you, it's either on sale or wholesale or you just don't need the product.
Bill Handle, mornings from 6 to 10 on KFI. KFI, AM 640.
Yesterday don't matter if it's gone. While the sun is bright, or in the darkest night, no one knows. She comes and goes.
To talk to George Norrie, call the wildcard line at 818-501-4109. The first-time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk toll-free from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies toll-free, call 800-618-8255. To reach George via Skype, use Skype name George97313. Send George a text message anytime at 818-298-6521. This is Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie.
Well, we talk a lot about past lives and past life regressions and reincarnation, but what about reincarnation with a couple people together constantly? That's strange. That's what we're going to talk about with 2 special guests, so stick around and let's just hear what they have to say. Now, have you signed up yet to become a Coast Insider? It's 15 cents a day, and people who sign up, and there are many, love it.
I love being a Coast Insider. I travel a lot. I can always have my shows. I download them on my podcast and never miss a thing. And every show I learn at least one thing.
Hey, this is Buck. I'm a Coast to Coast Insider, and I'll tell you what. It's a great thing for me. Here in West Virginia, we get inundated with snow. But it doesn't matter as long as we have our provisions. I've got 5 years of coast-to-coast program to play.
So there you go. Again, 15 cents a day. You simply sign up by going to coasttocoastam.com. It's right at the top of the homepage, and you become a Coast Insider. Looking for ways to build your immune system? Here you go.
HealthyLooking.com and Dr. Alan May brings 4 decades of experience in natural products with exclusive stem cell wellness kits that works with your body's stem cells to assist your immune system. Here's Dr. Malay with more.
Whether it's physical activity, obesity, diet, smoking, low on hormones, stress, sleep disorders, or your age can be supported by reducing inflammation and aiding the body to heal itself appropriately. A stem cell is a cell waiting to be told what it needs to be. If there is inflammation, that inflammation needs to be stopped. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, kidney disease, various types of cancer, depression, Alzheimer's disease, autoimmune disorders, osteoporosis, even fatty liver are chronic signs of inflammation and can be aided by supporting the body's ability to protect those cells that it needs. And that is the purpose of ImmuStem and AdaptoStem together, supporting the body to be the best it can be.
Dr. Malay, how will I feel after taking AdaptoStem and ImmuStem?
The ImmuStem is going to have an immediate effect, but I guarantee you that your immune system is starting to function better after 24 hours. You put AdaptoStem along with it, you will feel it in 30 minutes.
Order now at HealthyLooking.com. The Stem Cell Wellness Kit from Dr. Malay protects your body's stem cells and will make you feel better faster. The Stem Cell Wellness Kit with AdaptoStem and ImmuStem and your free gift Relax Cell is only available at HealthyLooking.com or toll free at 800-563-3980. That's 800-563-3980. Don't forget to enter promo code George for free shipping. George's Stem Cell Wellness Kit at HealthyLooking.com. That's HealthyLooking.com.
As you get older, having energy is less about your morning cup of coffee and more about how you're taking care of yourself. And you can do this with regular exercise and, of course, a balanced diet rich in antioxidants that fight potentially harmful free radicals. And that's why I take Super Beets Heart Chews. They taste great, and they're great for energy. Super Beets Heart Chews combine non-GMO beets with a special ingredient called grapeseed extract that is unique to Super Beets Heart Chews. Grapeseed extract has been the focus of scientific research for years due to its high concentration of antioxidants, which supports cardiovascular health and overall wellness. And the grapeseed extract used in Super Beets Heart Chews has been clinically shown to be 2 times as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle all by itself. And you can't find this quality of grapeseed extract in any Just product. This grapeseed extract is clinically studied, quality tested, traceable to the source, and scientifically shown to support blood flow with healthy blood pressure. Healthy blood pressure and flow means more energy, the way nature intended without the jittery caffeine or stimulants. Do what I did, support your heart health with delicious Super Beets Heart Chews. Get your Super Beets Heart Chews today at NoriBeets.com. And when you buy 2 bags, they'll toss in the 3rd for free at NoriBeets.com.
Born from the tragedy of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation carries forward a legacy of courage and heroism. To mark 20 years, Tunnel to Towers is gifting America's heroes and their families with 200 mortgage-free homes. To honor the fallen, Chairman and CEO Frank Dillon walks more than 500 miles through 6 states in 42 days, from the Pentagon to Shanksville, culminating at Ground Zero on 9/11. Towers of Light return to the Pentagon and Shanksville memorials in remembrance. For the first time, those we lost to 9/11-related illness are being honored at a ceremony September 12th on Veterans Day. Another first. The soldiers we lost in the War on Terror are having their names read aloud. The words, never forget, require action. Do good and take action now. Donate $11 a month at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you, along with Paul Smith. And Paul, my friend, what's new for you? What's up? Any more books or anything like that?
I'm working on a book, but it's going to be a while before I get done because I keep getting distracted by the demand for training. I am also helping, so I'm on the board now. I've retired from IRVA, but then I got snapped up by a couple of other organizations. The Parapsychological Association, I'm on the board of that.
Oh, great.
And the Rhine Research Center, I'm on the board of that. And we're now actually planning in the process of organizing kind of the final stages of a online virtual conference, joint conference between the Parapsychological Association and the Society for Scientific Exploration that's going to be meeting online in July. It's going to be great. We've had more than 70 really good proposals submitted, and I don't know how many more of that. I've kind of lost track, but
that's a lot.
and that's when everybody is invited to. Of course, there's a charge to attend, but that's how they keep these organizations running, actually. So that's one thing I'm deeply involved in, and of course, all of the other remote viewing related activities. Talking to you, for example, is one of the things that makes my life worthwhile.
Super. And how's your health? Everything good there?
Well, as good as it has been. I mean, I'm 68, closing in on 69, so I've got the typical things going along with everything, and it's really quite annoying. The only thing worse than growing old is not growing old, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's take some final calls. Joe in Long Island, New York, welcome to the program. Joseph, go ahead.
Paul, two-part question and a comment. I guess, you really can't go to the dark side of the moon in person. So I wonder if you've remote viewed like Journey to the Center of the Earth or Under the Sea type of thing. And also, when you talk about from the military sense, you've got weapons like potentially in a crate, a nuclear bomb in a crate. It might be hidden. It might be imperceptible. So you would want to find that out, but could you also perceive motives as to why people would be doing this? And then my comment is that maybe school instead of calculus should have courses on daydreaming. Daydreaming 1, daydreaming 2, and then maybe they'd be better able to remote view.
The daydreaming thing is interesting because there might be a kind of a corollary to it, meditation, right? And there is really good evidence that meditation actually enhances a person's ability to learn how to do ESP kind of tasks, like remote viewing. So you're not far off in the daydreaming versus remote viewing and meditation approach. There does seem to be an effect there, or at least a benefit to it. As far as motives, in principle, you can remote view motives, but it can be challenging. You're trying to gain access to someone's mind, and it's a little less concrete, and it's hard to determine how accurate you are in that respect. For example, during Desert Storm, well, I was over there actually as a conventional military intelligence officer in the field with the 101st Airborne Division. I got sent there from the remote viewing program, so I was busy doing the real thing, and my colleagues back at Fort Meade were actually, one of their taskings was to try and perceive, I guess not so much Saddam Hussein's motives, those seem pretty clear, but to perceive his intentions. What was he going to do? And that's a challenge because people's intentions don't always stay the same. You can pick up on somebody's intention to do something, and later on they change their minds about doing it. So it's challenging, in principle possible, but really kind of a sticky process to try and navigate through and come up with anything you can actually confirm.
Poor Saddam Hussein must have been set up because he was trying to stop Kuwait from slant drilling, taking his oil. Went to April Gladsby, and she basically said, this is an Arab decision. You two, decide what you're going to do about it. You take care of your own thing. And he did, and look what happened to him. Yeah.
Well, I think that it's kind of like killing a fly with a sledgehammer if you invade Kuwait to keep it from slant drilling. That seemed to be overkill, to do that. I mean, there's other ways to do it.
Negotiate.
On an internet, or or even limited military or whatever, don't involve getting the whole world mad at you, you know. So an overcalculation at the very least.
Neil's with us in Clear Lake, California, west of the Rockies. Neil, thanks for holding. Go ahead. Neil, are you there? I thank the guy for holding, and he hangs up.
Dang it.
Remote view where he is right now, Paul.
He is in, where did you say, Ohio?
He was in Clear Lake, California. Let's go
California, sorry. I wasn't paying attention to that part.
Let's go to Denver, Colorado. Walter's there with us. Oh, hi, Walter.
Yep, Walter's here.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Hi there, Walter. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. John Smith. This is Smith. Say your name again.
Paul Smith.
Sorry.
It's Paul Smith.
Paul Smith. I'm sorry. I was driving through construction at midnight in Denver, and I couldn't listen very closely. Anyway,
be careful.
Ed Dames, and I'm not familiar with Paul Smith yet. I'm remote viewing Ed Dames. I did a course that he put out on remote viewing.
Right.
And it was about the time that National Geographic came out with a illustration of a pyramid in Copan, Belize. I believe it's Belize. Copan.
Sure.
Had a picture of a pyramid that was partially excavated. It looked like it was a pyramid that was bulldozed into the shape of a pyramid. Very loose stones and no regularity at all. The article said that they had excavated it and found that the stones were the exterior protective shell of an internal perfectly shaped pyramid that had a space big enough between those outside shell stones and the internal pyramid for people to walk through. And the internal pyramid had engravings packed with cellulose to keep that from being eroded, to keep those engravings from being eroded. The external shell was for the same purpose, to protect the internal pyramid. They had an illustration artist rendition of the pyramid from a distance, looking at partially excavated engravings. Showed men in the beak of a bird. And I decided that because they promised a follow-up article in the next issue of National Geographic, and I'm thinking 2008, around August, was the issue. And I searched and I bought National Geographic, tons and tons of them, trying to find the follow-up. There never was a follow-up issue. Article. I did a remote view to try to understand what they found. And I understand that I could have been influenced by the illustration.
Sure.
By the picture. But I was standing inside of the pyramid looking up at a ledge that went around the perimeter of the internal pyramid inside of it. The geologists, excavators, archaeologists were looking down on an object in the center of this pyramid with work light shining down on that object from the ledge. It looked like a smooth, maybe 20-foot diameter top of a shiny, smooth object, parabolic.
Were you assigned this by Ed Dames, Walter, or did you do this on your own?
I did this on my own.
Okay.
But I did it using his techniques.
Okay.
And I sincerely believe that I saw the top, maybe about 3 or 4 feet going up, of the height of that parabolic, and top of the shape about 20 feet in diameter, but I never saw the total size of the ship. I do believe I saw a ship.
So you think you viewed some kind of a spaceship or something like that?
And how do you verify things like that, Paul? If you remote view like Walter did, how does he know what he's really looking at?
Well, the only conclusive way to do it is actually get access to it, right? Presumably, if this thing was real, that would be difficult to do because they probably would not want just anybody being able to access it for whatever reason, for either good or bad reasons, right? That's really the only way to do it. Now, you could potentially have somebody else remote view it as long as they had no idea what it was you were expecting them to find. And you could at least maybe generate some corroborating information or information that didn't confirm it, you know. But short of actually being able to go there and examine it, or having someone credible go there and examine it, there's no way to fully confirm it, that it actually is there. And, you know, that's the unfortunate thing about mysteries, is they're very hard to confirm unless you can get actual eyes on the target, so to speak, as we used to call it in the military.
Well, if I've learned anything from you and Ed Dames and people in the field, it's don't concentrate a lot and don't think about it, just let it flow to you.
Yes, it's a very Zen-like thing. Remote viewing has a lot of elements that a practitioner of Zen would find very familiar, right? And yeah, that's one of them.
Let's go to Hartford, Connecticut. Hello, Brian. You are up with us.
Hey, George. How are you?
Great. Thanks. Hope
Hi,
you are
Paul.
too.
How are you?
Hey, good.
Good. Thank you for taking my call. I had some questions regarding, is it easier to, let's say, somewhat program a person through hypnosis to enter those altered states of remote viewing and enhance those abilities, and when they come out of it? And also, can remote viewing be used to see future events, and maybe can it be used to receive downloads to cures for certain things like cancers or Morgellons or other weird diseases that might be out there as well?
So you've got 3 one-hour questions there.
Which you've got a minute to answer, Paul.
So let me start with the first one. We'll see how far I get. The first question was,
hypnosis.
Hypnosis, yes. So the answer to your question for that is we don't know. There's been a little research done in terms of remote viewing with the aid of hypnosis, really 2 small studies that they did at SRI. And the answer that they came up with in those studies was, no, it doesn't seem to help. But, of course, you can't try every kind of aspect of hypnosis and related to remote viewing. It was a small set of studies, and they only tested one kind of variant or process. So I'd love to see more research done on that and find out what you end up with. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't actually know the answer to that question.
Well, and you can go into the future.
Yes, the second question is yes, you can remotely view the future. It's particularly effective if you use a methodology called associative remote viewing. And there are people actually doing that and winning bets in sporting events and making investing decisions that actually turn out to be right. People are actually making money predicting the future using remote viewing.
And how about coming up with cures for disease?
Cures for disease. That the court is still out on. There's been a couple of attempts to try and bring back technology from the future. They've not been successful. But, you know, it's worth trying. Maybe we can go into the future and find a cure. Or maybe something that if you did a very rigorous research project on using remote viewing, maybe we can come up with an answer that we discover ourselves right now. But so far, the problem with this, of course, is this is an ESP phenomenon, and there's not much research money to promote this kind of research, and that's sad because I think there's a lot of potential to it. So if we can come up with money, maybe you know somebody who's got a lot of money they want to research with, we could do something with it. But right now it's a bit of a challenge.
Are there classified Stargate files out there somewhere?
Yes, there are probably some, but most of them have been declassified. I'm fairly confident of that. But there are some. Every once in a while, in fact, I got another 1,100 pages sent me a few years back outside of the ones that have been declassified because they came across them in the files. They didn't know about them, right? And then so they declassified them and sent them on. And there probably are some like that have just been overlooked. And there may be a few that, because they involve other sources and methods that they're trying to protect, that they haven't been released at all. If you go through the archives that exist now, you'll see there are places where they've redacted parts of them. In other words, covered them with a black covering so that you can't read what's under them.
They've marked it out.
Yes, marked it out because there may be sensitive stuff in there.
Yeah, like they do with UFOs and all that. You ask for something in the...
That's usually the stuff you want to read, and it's the stuff they won't let you read, you know.
Wonder what they blacked out. What do you think it could have been?
Exactly. And some, unfortunately, do it in a way that you can't pry it up and read what's under it. You know?
Paul, do people still get your books on Amazon and other places?
Yes, Amazon is actually the easiest place to get them. Essential Guide you can get off my website, but if you're in a hurry, Amazon's always the easier place to get it from.
Paul, thank you, my friend. You keep in touch with us, okay?
Absolutely. I love going on with you, George, so I'm looking forward to the next time already.
You're one of the best. Paul Smith, remote viewer. Up next, we're going to talk about reincarnation done together by a couple constantly. Wait till you hear this.
Get daily show updates right to your inbox for free with the Coast Zone newsletter. Sign up today at coasttocoastam.com.
Inside our homes this past year, the time is now to get outdoors. We all know Avelo Airlines is inspiring travel with flights starting as low as $19. Experience incredible wine tasting to national parks to epic outdoor adventures at the West's most beautiful destinations. With $19 fares, why not be spontaneous? Visit AveloAir.com. That's AveloAir.com and book your flight today. Avelo Airlines. Surprisingly low fares, refreshingly smooth travel. AveloAir.com. Restrictions may apply. Visit AveloAir.com for details.
Contractor license 1047-781.
$129 will make a world of difference in the efficiency of your air conditioner, because just $129 is all it costs to have one of my genius ghetto technicians come to your home and perform a complete system rejuvenation.
We're going to clean and adjust your air conditioner
and make 6 critical adjustments to bring it back to factory specs.
Rejuvenation reduces breakdowns and makes your AC last longer.
A lot longer. Rejuvenation!
And we'll clean the coil the right way, not the easy way.
You do not want to face Ken Goodrich if he finds out you did it the easy way.
You can't imagine how much difference it makes when the coils have been cleaned the right way.
6 critical adjustments and external coil cleaning the right way.
Kenny and the boys are going to make your air conditioner sing like paparazzi.
I think you mean Pavarotti.
Yeah, him too.
Go. Goettl. We're the ones to call.
But it's hard to spell.
There are no limits to what we can do together. So let's keep rising, California.
Esquina, esquina, y ahí nos vamos. El mundo es grande, pero no tengo en mis manos. Estoy muy duro, sí, porque vamos. Y con el tiempo nos seguimos elevando.
Get vaccinated and wear a mask when it can protect you and others. Your actions save lives. To learn more, visit covid19.ca.gov.
¿Y dónde está mi gente?
If you already know what you want us to say, you're probably in the wrong place. KFI, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
KFI
and KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County. Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Leave Dolores alone. I'm Phil Hewlett from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. L.A. Mayor Eric Garcetti wants his chief of staff to step down. This after an L.A. Times report dug up some old comments Ana Guerrero made in a private Facebook group about civil rights and labor leader Dolores Huerta. According to the Times, Guerrero called Huerta a jealous old lady in Spanish and also commented, "I hate her, you hate her," on a photo of Huerta. Guerrero has also been accused of insulting and making suggestive comments about city employees in the past. L.A. City Councilman Mike Bonin promises all homeless encampments along the Venice Beach Boardwalk will be cleared out by early August. He previously advocated converting beach parking lots into homeless shelters. He says alternative housing will be offered to about 200 people who want to live on the beach. He hasn't said where, but has mentioned hotels that have been purchased by the city's Project Home Key. Flooding is possible in Orange County's coastal communities for the next couple of nights. An astronomical high tide is expected to peak this week, and waves up to 8 feet are also in the forecast. Vanessa Bryant has reached a settlement in her lawsuit against the company that owned and operated the helicopter that crashed, killing her husband Kobe, daughter Gianna, and 7 other people. The terms of the settlement will be kept confidential. Today's a big day for Britney Spears. Normally, her lawyers would speak on her behalf, but today, in an L.A. courtroom, she'll address the bench directly. The singer has yet to say what she plans to talk about, but sources say she'll speak about her father, Jamie. For almost 5 years, she's been trying to remove him as her court-appointed guardian. Southland weather from KFI, low clouds and fog.